ever since you brought this dog to my place while you've been having roommate issues for me to take care of, your shelter dog, it's been nonstop negative comments about his past. I mean, it's like getting ridiculous. Maybe his old owners tried to hit him over the head with a shovel and leave him in a pit, but then they didn't kill him, and he kept coming back to their house, and they keep bringing him back to the pit. I'm like, what if he has heartworms and they're becoming like the animals and aliens and they're going to burst through his chest if we don't kill him soon? It's like, chill out. Let the process happen. He's a nice dog, but again, he's also a handful. The old owners, they were old apparently, according to your paperwork. They probably were eaten by him. They probably broke their hip after he got their leash caught between their legs, flipped them on their side in the kitchen, ate them, and then realized he had no one to teach him anything, say yes or no, and he just ran around the house. That's why he's like this now, and he did 30,000 steps walking around all day today. 30,000 with 2 walks unaccounted for because I didn't have my step counter on me. So it's might be 40,000 steps today. I can barely move. Then he tried to buy the XLR cable. We got 20 minutes of podcast going into it, and then we realized we weren't recording because he decided to eat the podcast cables. So, he's a handful. He's a handful.
He's been through trauma. I mean, he has road rash. He was like a big compilation.
You know who else has been through trauma? Child abusers. That's why they're abusers. They went through trauma. No one talks about what happened to Epstein when he was young. That doesn't matter. He's just a monster. I bring him to the park an hour he's fine with the dogs, and in the last 10 minutes he starts biting some random dog, and people are like, how could you bring this monster to the park? What is wrong with you? I'm going to call animal control. I'm like, oh my God. It's like, this is insane. He just goes off randomly on a random dog his size, irrelevant about being intact or not. His ball sack is huge because he has all that testosterone through him, because he got his balls cut off late. So he's like one of those transsexual fighters that transition when they're 45. He has all that muscle and bone structure that Joe Rogan talks about. And that's why he's so dangerous to the other dogs, because he got his balls cut off late. He's a transsexual dog is what he is. He's a transsexual eunuch. Like a late transsexual. So he's not passable. With that ball sack hanging low, he's definitely not passable. Also with that dick that's constantly out. Whenever he sees me, none of my friends, my human friends, get a hard dick when they see me. It's funny how dogs do that. It's like, I don't know whether I like you or I just want to hump your leg. It's so But I'm glad I'm here to help your dog. I'm glad that's I feel good.
Thank you so much. He needs you.
Welcome to Deplorables with Attitude, everyone. I'm your host, Ben. We're here with the fabulous Sarah. Sarah is a PhD candidate at NYU right now in Russian studies. That's why she's on the show today. Very apropos for what's happening in the news. She has an undergraduate degree from Bowdoin in English and I think classics, which is like Shakespeare and all that bullshit. And that's why she has an OnlyFans and a Seek an Arrangement account, because none of those things pay. I don't know why you're getting that $500,000 education. What's the deal? You're you should just be in LA right now jerking off TikTok stars and trying to make it big. Get to the city. Become a big city girl. Why are you doing the school thing? School's out. Especially when it comes to the shit you're studying. Now, I do appreciate the Russian studies thing. I think something came off the Reuters news report just recently saying that if Putin does not get Apple Pay restored in Russia soon, he's going to demand that no, wait, what was it? I fucked that up. So annoying. If Putin does not have Apple Pay restored in Russia soon, he's going to release Trump's pee-pee tapes, and it's going to be bad. That's what I wanted to say. Damn it. Too much of this Irish whiskey. What am I doing?
With the cork in it now.
Yeah. I don't know.
Floating around.
So what do you think about Russia right now?
I mean, it's just
yeah, it's $500,000 education. It's just,
it's very sad.
Why?
Just getting, steamrolled and manhandled by Putin can't be fun for anybody.
Jesus.
He's trying to make it disappear like his girlfriend.
The ballerina?
The twins, yeah.
He's just hiding her because she has his twins, and he doesn't want anyone to know that he's dating a fat girl. That's all. He wants to wait till they get the tuck surgery, and she's back to looking fabulous. Like Emily Ratajkowski, she's looking great now. She just had those kids. She looks just like as if it never happened.
Where do you stow someone away like that?
In Russia,
Yeah.
a million places. She could be in Yakuts. I can think of all the places on Risk, the old board game. Irkuts, Yakuts. Maybe she's in the Donbass region. That's be the last place anyone would seem to find her, but maybe. I think it's interesting that Russia is using the whole Nazi thing right now. Like, the reason they're going into Ukraine is because Zelensky is a Nazi, a Jewish Nazi of all things, a comedian ex-actor Nazi who basically won the presidency because he was on a fucking game show. It's almost making fun of America and how we label the people we don't like as fascists and Nazis. In Russia, the worst thing you can call someone since 1939 is a Nazi. But in this particular time, it's a bit apropos to be labeling another person that's opposition as a president as a Nazi, and then having the West say you're crazy, considering we've been calling Trump since 2016 Hitler, a Nazi, evil. But in this case, Trump, like Putin's completely off base. I think that's kind of amusing. I think he almost is doing it to say, fuck you to the West. I can play this game too.
Yeah.
No one, you notice no one on the press is calling him out on that. No one's talking about how he's using the whole, he's calling a Jewish president a Nazi. It's like no one is talking about it because they don't want anyone to say, wait a minute, why is Trump and his Jewish son-in-law, why are they Nazis? That doesn't make any sense. No, they don't want to make anyone to make that distinction. They've like he's making fun of the West and what's happening with the whole Nazi thing and fascism thing. I guarantee you that's part of it. He's like, if I play it up this angle, no one's going to say shit. They're going to be like, fuck. All we can talk about is how he's a dictator and how he's like, but like, what is he really doing that's wrong here? Like, really think about it. Like he's unifying from his perspective. Why is he concerned about anything? I don't think that he is. The sanctions, everything else, like the SWIFT being blocked, if that were to happen, that could be catastrophic if they don't have liquidity in terms of like Bitcoin or some alternative accounts for transfers. But I'm willing to bet that much of the money, the Russian oligarch money and all the people in Russia that are part of the Politburo, if you will, or the primary executives, all that money's trillions of it are already outside of Russia. So blocking their payment system isn't really going to do anything. They've been planning this for a while.
Right. They have. They've been sitting on this one.
The thing that I think is interesting, in 2014 was the last time gas prices were this high, and Putin went after Crimea. And now he's going after Ukraine at Brent crude. Before it hit 100 during the campaign, the early days of going into the Donbass region. But before that, it was at 90, 88. And it's like, I think of Naftogaz in Ukraine and Gazprom and the fact that Ukraine is the only intermediary with leverage against Russia, which basically accommodates 40% of the EU's, the European Union's gas and oil imports. 40%. 65% of it goes to Germany. So that's why Janet Yellen was Janet Yellen. Angela Merkel was always in Putin's pocket, would never say shit about Putin. Trump would talk trash about her all the time. I think they look the same, Janet Yellen and Angela Merkel. They both probably hate Trump all the same, but Angela Merkel was like famous at some, maybe, which summit? Wasn't Davos, but it was maybe the G9. Maybe I don't know where they were, but she was famous for like not shaking his hand or something. Like she's trying to posture in this bullshit way, but she's just a paid off shill. She's on the fucking Gazprom board of Russian oil. She's paid off.
Yeah. paid off snubber,
man. Like, there's nothing in like the philosophical nature of this in terms of like Russians fighting their brothers, which are essentially Ukrainians. Like, that's awful. But Putin doesn't really want to enslave Ukraine. He wants to set up a dummy government that he can control that will not undermine him in terms of trade agreements or make a NATO compromising move, because all these countries around there, Poland, et cetera, and so forth, are NATO nations. Mm-hmm. And he does not want NATO to be involved in his oil and gas monopoly. That has possibly gives him a net worth of over $30 billion. It's unclear. I've heard rumors he has a $200 billion net worth based on his Gazprom interests, because everything's nationalized. Rosneft, Gazprom. Anyways, I think it's really interesting. This handsome president of theirs, Zelensky, with two Y's, is just killing it in terms of just like the public image thing. This guy could do anything he wants if he doesn't get killed by Russian soldiers. Anything he wants. He could have a game show in LA. He could do the whole Prince Harry thing. He could be a Playboy in the United States. He could just leave politics. I mean, he can do anything he wants. He can make tons of money. He'll be set for life, because we're propping him up as this fucking like pretty boy, poster boy, like you're amazing, blah 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 blah. And he is, in a way, because I think Putin wouldn't care twice about having a sniper take him out any day now. But it seems like Kiev fighting seems to be on the outskirts of the city. The core, the main government area, seems to be secure. I mean, it's unclear. It could be, as we're talking, it could be taken. But it's interesting. The guy was on a fucking game show. He was an actor and a comedian, and he talks shit about corruption during the Poroshenko regime. And then in 2019, he wins the fucking presidency. Ironically, the party that he creates is the name of his fucking game show. It's called Servant of the People. That's the party that he ran on to become president of Ukraine. That was the name of his fucking game show. It's like, it's like surrealist art imitating life, and then life imitating the surrealism of the duplicitous nature of this like bullshit place that we live in, which is like Twitter world, where I used to think was fake, but now it's not fake. It's like merging with reality. It's like there's a whole like internet bubble of bullshit that seems to be like converging. Like oh, you know what's interesting? Look at what's trending on Twitter, Nazis, and then Putin's like, you know what? We should tell everyone that we're invading Ukraine because of Nazis. That's what's happening. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And no one actually thinks that Trump's a Nazi. They just read the same thing that Putin did on Twitter. It's like when I look at like monetizable average users on Twitter's 10K for their stocks and stuff like that. It's like, how do you know these Twitter people are real people? Just because Twitter tells you they are? How do you know what's trending is actually what people want to... Does everyone in the United States right now give a fuck what Kodak Black thinks? Like, is that real? Or is that like just to numb you up and keep you dumb? There's no way that the top thing in March of 2022 is what the CDC is saying about indoor mask use. There's no way that's the number one trending topic. And yet it's there on fucking Twitter all the time. And it's like, it's fake. It's a rigged game. And like, when you're in my like world of like having to use social media, you start to notice it. But if you had a more balanced life and you didn't have to look at social media at all, you'd almost want to just say, you're so overwhelmed with information. You just want to say, yeah, you're right. I don't want to deal with it. Ray Bradbury had exactly right, that the future will be so overwhelmed with information, people just like succumb to the narrative because they don't want to deal with like, well, let's vote Biden in because I just don't want to. I'm tired of the fighting.
Yeah.
Like that like Biden won because people were tired of Trump's angst, not Trump. Like people saying how awful he is. They got sick of that. So I would even say that Trump, if he were able to run against Biden right now after what's happened with Biden's approval rating and everything, he'd still lose. I would not be surprised if Trump loses in 2022 or 2024 when he runs.
Well, yeah. I mean, he lost some major supporters along the way that have been his trusty steeds for.
They're back on his
while.
side now. He's talking shit about how Putin's a genius and Biden's an idiot. Even though people are dying in Ukraine, I don't know that like this is a thing that it's supposed to be offensive. Like, why should I, as an American, not have a more objective view of this? Why do I have to have emotional feelings attached to the people of Ukraine? We're the reason Ukraine exists. Us.
Yeah.
The fall of the Berlin Wall, everything. We are the reason that the Cold War and our relationship with Russia is the reason Ukraine exists the way it does today. But we're supposed to feel something.
Right.
It's just like I don't. It's all fake. It's like the media is trying to stir up this sense of empathy that I don't have. I have empathy for the supermodels and the girls with the great bone structure that might be dying in Ukraine right now. But other than that, I really don't like. I don't think this is as serious of a war as people are making it out to be. Yet people have died, but this is going to be more of like an occupation, an annexation, and a passive like resolution where Zelensky, for the sake of bloodshed, will step down in a weird way where he'll yield so much influence in terms of reinstalling the Minsk agreement from 19. When did it start? 2014, 19. I don't know, the original Minsk agreement was in 2004. 1990, whatever. There's been a couple versions of it, but basically protecting Russian interests in the Ukraine, protecting the Donbass region and the people's sovereignty, which is what Putin is using to like invade. Essentially, there's Russian interests, Russian separatists that are being abused by Ukrainians. That's why we're coming in, and the people that are doing it are the ads like cherry on top. They're fascists. They're also drug users. He calls the government people they're meth addicts or something. Like what? Like, and is that also is that a shot at Hunter Biden? Like, is he just playing the whole thing? Like, I think he called them meth addicts. It's like he's like making fun because Hunter Biden was on that Ukrainian oil board and he was a meth addict. There has to be this little subtle game of ha ha. Because I think I could have sworn he said meth addicts. I could have sworn he said that they're meth addicts.
Well,
like,
at least use like a Russian drug. Like, what was that one where people were like eating faces?
Crocodile's the one where it was like a weird version of heroin where it was like eating your skin because there's some bad shit in it.
Yeah, flesh eating.
But I heard that was like not true. I heard that was just like a bad batch or something. My muscles are tensing up. Oh my gosh. Oh, I like trying to like grab that. Oh, it's so bad. This dog is just ruining my body. I should start getting testosterone injections or something. It's just killing me. I'm feeling old. Man, you really making me feel my age, you little fuck. God.
This is why they said in his paperwork he's from 2 to 4. They couldn't even tell. He looks old, but he acts young. He's like a weird. Who's that celebrity that like has a very strong vigor but looks really old? It's definitely not Biden.
Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah. He's like a Timothy Chalamet.
I'm kidding. He's a twink. He'll be a twink forever. Actors don't age anymore. They're like perpetually young. Like, you know, except for like Leonardo DiCaprio is perpetually like overweight and like, I don't know, just like slamming ass. God, he's just like, you know, like I don't have to, there's supposed to be a gratifying thing as a man to be so successful to the point where you just don't have to try anymore. It's like, I'm like I could look like Tom Cruise in Vanilla Sky after the accident, and I can just run off what I am called based off of social media. Like I'm sexy because that's what I am. And if I became not sexy in a horrific accident like Tom Cruise in Vanilla Sky, I will still be sexy because that's just I have so much credit for my past.
Well, I think it's the tender tough. If somebody's tender tough. Where they, Leo has the environment. That's the tenderness.
Leo is tender tough because he doesn't get a lot of play-by-play because the fact is he's fucking children all the time and no one really wants to talk about it. He like if you're 20, you're too old for him. Like that's his type. Nothing wrong with
Wait,
that.
is he
I guess.
50 now?
Yeah,
He's got to be 50.
So it's becoming more pedophile or more creepy. Not pedophilic, but creepy. Venophilia is what he likes the young models.
Well, he's a aging white man.
Yeah, but
That's
he's
white
like
man
them
syndrome.
forever. Like it's like his personality is stunted by the fact that his celebrity happened at a very young age. So he's still when he was 17 famous, he still likes the same type of girl when he was 17. Like I like crazy batshit girls that cut themselves in high school whose uncle molested them and they have borderline personality disorder. That can be kind of nice. Yeah. But like I kind of want them to like grow out of it and like be more balanced and have a good life. He kind of wants them to still be cutting themselves and like, still being molested. He kind of like likes them where they were. That's creepy.
Michael Jackson's was even further down that rabbit hole.
I don't know that he did anything, man. I think he just liked to sleep with them, not have sex, but just sleep next to them. I think he was just sleeping next to Macaulay Culkin.
I don't know. He did somebody had to have swooped in.
You really think he fucked Macaulay Culkin?
How would Macaulay Culkin have known? I think there's some definite regression.
I would have a hard time believing that. Like, if my Kieran Culkin, who's on Succession, like how do you like become good at anything knowing that your brother got fucked by Michael Jackson? I would be scarred by proxy if my brother was raped by Michael Jackson. I have to think, therefore, that if Michael Jackson slept with Macaulay Culkin in the same bed and he didn't fuck him, why would he not fuck? Why would he not fuck Macaulay Culkin? So if he didn't fuck Macaulay Culkin, he didn't fuck any of them.
How does Macaulay Culkin know that his yoo-hoo wasn't spiked?
Hey, I no. All I'm doing is sleeping with these boys. That's all. I think what the media is saying is it's awful.
My thing is, I mean, he had so many. When people are given the world at their fingertips, nobody knows, especially a child.
But what I'm saying is, if he didn't fuck Macaulay Culkin, he didn't fuck any of them. Which means if he fucked Macaulay Culkin, and Kieran Culkin is an actor whose brother got fucked by Michael Jackson in the ass. What do you call a Michael Jackson burger?
I don't know. What do I want to know?
2 10-year-old buns with 45-year-old meat in the middle.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's what it is. Like, I would not, like, I would have, like, I know that doesn't make any sense. I just have a hard time believing that anyone's successful in a family that's cursed by Michael Jackson raping one of your sons or daughters or brothers. Like, there's just no way that's like he whispers like something or like, oh, reaching out over the shoulder, I'll tell you what I see. Do you like that? Macaulay? Hey, can we watch Home Alone again after I'm done? Reaching out. I just don't believe that that's real. I don't believe that happened.
You needed to lock eye contact with.
Isn't that cancel culture now? People just like, Michael Jackson did not fuck all those kids. I just don't believe it. I believe that he slept with them in the bed because he was trying to protect his innocence, like Holden Caulfield in Catcher in the Rye. He lost his innocence early. He's trying to keep all the kids from falling off the rye field. So he's like, I don't want you to have your balls cut off, so you stay a falsetto forever like my father did to me. Come over, I'll protect you. Let's sleep in bed. Hey, you guys want to see my pubic hair? It's permed. Reaching out over the shoulder. Hey, you guys know that I did the Free Willy soundtrack? Yeah. Come on, you guys want to know what tastes like cherries? Come here, let me show you. Oh, reaching out. I don't know, man. It's crazy. One more swig of this Glendalough. Yeah. Double barrel.
Marvelous Glendalough. Now, I mean,
and she says,
and
she says, why, oh, doesn't it feel good? I tell you why, oh, ain't it that way? You know what's fucked up about his songs? Kids like them. Like, imagine being a pop star that transcends adults and your pop charts are, like, for kids. Like remember the video with like the car? He like turns into the car, and then like the evil drug dealers that had like tarantulas on on like stuffed animals or something. Like he could be a transformer. Remember that video? It was
I
like
think so. Yeah, which
it was like he turned into a car. He was a transformer, and
sounds like an '80s.
yeah, and he was protecting these kids, and I'm like, he's not raping kids. His father didn't rape him. His father cut his balls off. His father didn't turn him into a twink to rape him. He beat him maybe, but he cut his balls off for money. That's like just capitalism. That's not like sexual.
Well, the thing that I never understood is he had so many like old, like how is it that one or all five of them, they were a pack of Jacksons, didn't just overpower his dad at one point and like all pile on him, shred him apart. If I had a father like that.
It's called Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you fall in love with your captor. Especially, it's a lot easier when your captor is your father.
Kind of like you and the dog.
You gonna get on that stage, boy, and you gonna sing your ABCs. I don't want to, Dad. I want to play with the kids. My kids are my age. You shut the fuck. I'll get the belt, boy. I'll cut off your balls. Okay, Dad. I'm gonna cut off your balls anyway, but you get your ass on stage. ABC, easy as 1, 2, 3. You and me. ABC, baby, you and me, girl.
This is probably what happened to my dog. He had some aggressor.
Wouldn't it be funny if
like
the Tinder swindlers helping Putin move money, like like he's like, I'll help you. I'm very good with this, the moving of the money.
It's a swindler.
Because like, how do you get a bunch of women that are? How do you locate women on Tinder that need to be on Tinder that have hundreds of thousands of dollars or the ability to take hundreds of thousands of dollars of loans, and you don't spend any money on them? You just like show them picture, or even better, you use other women's money and then you take the risk that it'll work again, and you like buy women some handbags, maybe fly them to like a nice like location for like a weekend, and they trust you enough to just give you $100,000 because you need it because you have enemies. That guy, I bet Putin's like, how do I do this? I'll tell you everything. I'm so good at it. Oh my God. That guy is so baller to me, to get women to give you money. Like that's crazy. And if he didn't pay anything, like he didn't give them any money, he just showed them that he had money and their relationship was all digital, that would be even more hilarious. Women are so dumb that they're like, my rich boyfriend, like he needs a loan for like $200,000. I'm gonna take it. Like, what are you out of your mind? Because he has enemies. What? Oh my God! But Putin is throwing like his game is the same shit. He moved all the money out of the country. Probably it's in like it's like Tinder swindler helped him, and it's in like Australian bank accounts, and so the SWIFT thing is irrelevant. And he also is doing everything that the Democrats did to Trump. And he's making fun of Hunter Biden being a crack addict or a meth addict. He's talking about like Nazis, and like he's like, hi, you the guy you didn't like, you called a Nazi. Why can't I call the guy I don't like a Nazi? Who are you to say anything? And then you have like protests on both sides, but then you have some like kind of pro Putin people, and you have China saying, we're kind of indifferent. It's fucking nuts. You want to talk about something hilarious that happened in golf? Phil Mickelson thing.
And do hilarious things happen in golf
all the time? Phil Mickelson is under siege and taking time away from the PGA Tour because he was launching a Saudi-financed Super Golf League with Saudi money. But a guy was doing like an unauthorized book, like a biography of his, and off the record, he said he acknowledged the Saudi regime's horrible record on human rights, throwing gays off rooftops, killing Jamal Khashoggi, all that. He's like, but knowing all this, and I quote, would I consider it? Well, of course, because this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to reshape how the PGA Tour operates. And he called the PGA Tour a dictatorship of its own. So like he wanted to make money and sell out his own tour that made him millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. And then he talks shit about his new business partner, and now no one likes him. It's like, and he lost KPMG's sponsorship, the consulting firm, because they have accounts in fucking Saudi Arabia, obviously. How dumb can you be? You're talking to a reporter that makes $80,000 a year, maybe, and like you give him a sound bite like that. Oh my God, you're so dumb. You're so dumb. You're giving him gold that's worth millions of dollars. Hey, these fucking Saudis, man, they're bad. They kill people. But I do want to do business with them, and I hate the PGA Tour. They're fucking fascists, man. Oh, that's off the record, right? Yeah, definitely. Oh my God, I totally reset that. Like, it's fucking crazy, man. Like that's dumb. That's the dumbest thing I've. That's dumber than like anything I've seen Biden do. Like that's the dumbest shit ever. It's dumber than anything. Like that's the dumbest thing of the year. How do you fuck up your money that badly? You're just like you don't have to worry about anything. He's already super rich. You just have a loose tongue and you fuck up your like. You're willing to sell out the people that made you rich and take Saudi money, but then you talk shit about them behind your like. They have more money than anyone you've ever been around in your life. They have people like you're gonna be the face of a new like tour, and they have so much money they're willing to buy you out and make you go over to the dark side and leave the people that gave you your bread and butter, and then you have the audacity to talk shit about them. They kill people. Just like the Russians
watch
do.
for rooftops.
They like Novichok or whatever that neurotoxin. They could kill you in a second. No one would give a baker's fuck. The CIA said that MBS ordered the hit on fucking Jamal Khashoggi, but that they're not going to sanction him. They're not going to do shit. We're good. I mean, like that's how much money they have, and it's like you just fuck up your money. It's like, how do you do? He must have been drunk. That's the only thing. He's having some Mai Tais. He was hot outside. He just got finished doing a practice round. Came and talked to them. It's like astronomically dumb.
Can't they give us any backstory during this? I mean, because you end up feeling a little bad for people who fuck up. Like I do at least. I'm like that.
Backstory is it was a casual conversation, and there's this guy doing a book on Mickelson. Mickelson gave him a sound bite. It's unauthorized, yet Mickelson gave him a soundbite, which is kind of weird. It's like unauthorized in the sense that this is not a formal biography, but I'm going to assist in my biography from a third party that I didn't approve. I think that's kind of a weird, but that's the situation. So why don't you approve him? Because you don't trust him. So why are you giving him a piece of information that can ruin you? That's what I'm so confused by. Like, why wouldn't you want to approve the book deal and then get points on the back end of the distribution? So because you don't like the guy and you think he might talk shit, so then you give him the number one piece of information that would be the shit talking like story of the year. He had to have been drunk. It's the only thing I can think of. He has bitch tits. He was very like for years. Mickelson has had gynecomastia, these little titties, and it's like people have kind of made fun of him for it. I think he might have gotten surgery to get the mammary glands removed. Whatever, but like I think he's just like a drunk, an alky, like kind of been drinking, chilling. He doesn't have to do anything. Gets like $4 million a year from this sponsor, that sponsor. Like adds up to $20-30 million a year just in sponsorships, and he's like, I'm good, but he wasn't good, was he? Not anymore. Everyone hates that dude now.
Likely.
Fucking Kanye, man. Kanye West every day. Every day. When you talk about your fat snacks,
my gas station delight. So Sarah brings snacks to my place, and then when she leaves, she takes them with her. So we could order food, but she'll still get groceries and bring them here. And then when she leaves, she takes them with her. I have children I see sometimes, not my own, but.
What do you mean, like strangers?
You
like give kids candy? What are you trying to molest? What does that mean?
No.
You see kids in the street because you have like an openness thing, like a Jordan Peterson. I'm very open. I like to give, I feel candy kids to touch them and it's hairy legs. It's fine. It's crazy. You bring in these fat snacks. They're like obscenely addictive fatty snacks, and then I get addicted to them too. But then you take them with you, and it's like, why?
I can leave a little.
No, I don't want them at all.
behind.
They're so like Dunkaroos. These are like weird, like also these cereals.
They're like nostalgic fat snacks.
You know what's hilarious? You know what the biggest crock of shit is? Cereal that's supposed to be healthy, like granola cereal, that is more calories than regular cereal. It's the biggest crock of shit ever. No, have this cereal, whole grains and granola and cranberries, and then you read like how many calories it is. It's more than Cheerios or like whatever. Like it's more than like Cookie Crisp. And you're like, huh? Because it's filled with sugar and it tastes better because it's worse.
Yeah,
But
I learned out the hard way with
trail mix with like peanut butter and like fucking like sugar balls, and it's like not really a trail mix. It's more of like a heart problem waiting to happen.
I have like a nostalgic breakdown once in a while, and then I try to give it away to needy children.
Kanye West's new track "Sci-Fi" is featuring a lyric by Sean John, or maybe Kanye says it. No, Kanye says it. He raps it. When you lay down, I give the semen. I swear to God, the voice of Morgan Freeman. How do you feel about that track? Is that a good rhyme? You being a musician and everything.
When
you lay down, I give you the semen. I swear to God, voice of Morgan Freeman. That sounds like some weird like rape Morgan Freeman thing. Like he watched Along Came the Spider from 1997. He's like, oh shit, Morgan Freeman do all them rape those things in the 90s. He did all those Ashley Judd movies when like serial killer trying to kill her. I'm gonna rhyme that shit. Yeah. It's like very Law and Order SVU with the semen and Morgan Freeman.
I would love to see like a reactionary video of like Morgan Freeman listen, because I doubt he's heard it, but like just his face like, I did not approve this.
Since the dawn of time, I've been laying down the semen. That sound, that'd be sound. What's that guy that sleeps with Oprah?
Oh,
Stetson.
Stetson, yeah. No, that's a
cowboy hat.
Yeah, that's a hat.
But it's Stetson, isn't it?
You've been in this.
What is it? Studson?
It's
Studser.
No.
Stepson.
Stedman.
Yeah.
Stepford.
Isn't that the guy from Rookie of the Year that like teaches the kid when he gets his arm? Chet Stedman. I think that's the name of that actor with the big teeth that went crazy. You know what I'm talking about from the 80s and 90s movies. Oh my God, what's
not an Arquette?
No. Anyway, okay. Chet Stedman has anyway, but it doesn't matter. But yeah, that sounds like a guy that just like is a stud horse. It's like he lays down the semen like Morgan Freeman, right into Oprah for the sake of making her feel good about her weight fluctuations or whatever the fuck it is.
I think I don't know. Her dogs get
she's gonna run for
better
president, or it's gonna be Michelle. It's gonna be one of the two.
Well, that's a good. No, I think Oprah's past it. Oprah's like, I have so much.
Who is gonna
money
run?
For my magazine.
Everyone. So Kamala's approval rating is dog shit. It's absolute dog shit. No one gives a fuck about her. Like, no one gives a fuck about Biden. Everyone hates the idea of Trump coming. I really believe this. I think classical Republicans are afraid that Trump doesn't actually have any ideologic value system. It's just the ideology of his constituents, which are like Southern evangelical, like pro-nationalism that doesn't exist anymore because it's being out. Basically, nationalism is not possible because the world's economy is connected. The idea of like blocking free labor and stopping immigration for the sake of keeping like farm jobs that are just going to be automated anyway. It's just a complete farce. Like, bring back the factories that are going to be like just robots now, and there's going to be no factory jobs. Like, it's just get it 10 years. All these like people that are voting for him wouldn't vote for him because they realize that their future doesn't exist. They have to go back and learn to fucking code. Yeah. So I think DeSantis would be the guy. Like, I think DeSantis running or something, but like would make sense. A fresh face, he's been people like. I think DeSantis is good. He's Hispanic, wonderful, great. So okay, but if you're a Democrat, who is it? It's going to be Michelle Obama.
Yeah, and I could see they've been, laying low enough.
Yeah, that's the thing. They don't talk shit.
Yeah.
Or it could be, I've also heard a rumor that Tulsi Gabbard was recently at a conservative. I don't know if she was at CPAC, but she was at something. Tulsi Gabbard on the right would automatically just. That would be insane. She moves to the right. She joins DeSantis as a DeSantis Gabbard. That would beat anyone. I think that would beat Michelle Obama versus anyone.
Yeah.
I think people would see through the whole. Let's take Obama and hire everyone that was around him because he was so great. People start to realize, was he so great? Was he really? Why is Guantanamo Bay still open?
When you think about everybody who runs, though, like in my mind, I really am hoping that Bernie just keeps coming back every year, like the grandpa at Christmas who has dementia is like, I'm here again. Who are you? For me, like that would just be sweet if he just kept coming back.
You know what?
And I love
if
him.
they wanted to win, to guarantee it, it would be perfect. But he's too old now. The whole dementia thing that Biden set up, they're going to be thinking about like 84-year-old Bernie Sanders. What is he, 80 now?
Yeah, I just want him to keep.
How old is Bernie
on,
Sanders right now? There's just no way he's the guy.
But I mean, just for sentimental reasons, I just want to hear his voice still, have him be just as.
He's going to be 82 years old if he ran again. No way.
Get the fuck out. Is he really? Well, I guess that's not that shocking. He's
After
like an
Biden,
old Muppet.
They're just going to age us. Now, here's the funny thing. Biden's age and Trump's are very similar. So, but Trump has this, again, he has this, like, an early a person with what's the phrase? A person with a reputation as an early riser can sleep till 1 or whatever. Like, it's like Trump has his brains, his faculties still about him, but Biden doesn't. Yeah. Bernie seems to have his faculties about him as well, but it's like, do we really want the federal government to be involved? Bernie. The more you hear about Bernie Sanders' ideas, they're all utopian. Like, let's tax speculative sales in the stock market. That sounds like a fucking nightmare. like, what are you, nuts? Like, it's just like, go away, dude. I can't stand the
bless
guy.
his
He flies
heart.
private. He's rich. He's full of shit. He's a limousine liberal, just like all the rest of them.
What?
He demanded during Hillary Clinton's campaign, when the Democratic National Committee went against him. He's like, all right, I'll concede and endorse Hillary, but I want to fly private for all my endorsement speeches. He said that. This guy has multiple houses and is a millionaire, but talks shit about millionaires. It's so funny how you can be a politician, and people can see you as you're a civil servant. You sacrifice the corporate money thing to be a civil servant, not realizing that Nancy Pelosi's worth $200 million, but she makes $180,000 a year as a civil servant. How the fuck did that happen? Could it be that all my friends that went from Georgetown and to Harvard for the Harvard Kennedy School of Government, or just Georgetown straight to Capitol Hill instead of going to Wall Street, that they knew that there was money there, that there's more money than just $100,000 a year? Yeah, that's why they do it. There's a game there. For a girl I know named Caroline Simmons from in Connecticut, she works nonstop. Her being the next Hillary Clinton. She's such a workaholic. I went to tennis camp with her. Army Hammer, the cannibal, that's currently saying he wants to eat women, all that stuff. A bunch of people that I can't name a couple of them because they're I just don't want to. But it was a hell of a class of that summer camp. A lot of heavy hitters. A couple girls were like, "Do you know P. Diddy lives next to us?" And I'm like, "Go away, I hate you." A couple people like that, but otherwise, nice people, but successful, very powerful families. I think one of Paris Hilton's boyfriends I was friends with at the camp. I think he ended up taking the girl that I wanted, but I was kind of awkward then. He was a Tommy Hilfiger model. What was he gonna do? But yeah, he was
ran with the thoroughbreds, Andrew.
He's gorgeous guy. Yeah, I was like, I might, he's a handsome fellow. Man, I wish the sex tape had come out then, so I could be like, "Can I see the sex tape before it goes on Napster or or what LimeWire? Can I see it before it's leaked?"
Speaking of Napster, well, let's wheel it back to Kanye, because what
Oh yeah, yeah.
exactly happened with his whole scheme of like, you give me this exorbitant amount
Oh,
of
the stem
money.
player. Yeah, instead of having an album like that's on Spotify, it's like you pay $200 and I'll send you a iPod called the stem player, and you get to listen to Donda 2. It's like, but guess what? It only works for my album. So basically, you're buying an album with a player that works only for one person's album sale, and it costs $200. So it's the most expensive album of all time, probably. And
like, does it come with swag?
No, it's nothing. It's not gold. It's not like the Wu-Tang Clan thing that Martin Shkreli bought for $2 million. It's nothing special about it, except that it's Donda. But here's the hilarious thing: some kid came up with an emulator that basically separates all the tracks and convinces Donda's website, Donda 2 or whatever, wherever you connect your stem player to then download the shit after you pay your $200. It convinced it. The software convinces you that you're connected. It thinks that the stem player is connected to the website, and then it starts downloading the tracks individually. But then you can just merge them yourself, and boom, you have the album for free. So it's really about like the grunt work. I'm sure they'll improve the emulator to where you don't have to merge them yourself. You just press a button, because people don't really know how to do that. But like, yeah, it was a faux pas on Donda's people's part.
That's hilarious. I feel like if he was going to do that, at least to make some hilarious swag with it. Like, here's one of my
but
nude
each swag
masks.
piece has its own cost of sales, and that just eats into the $200. So it's like, well, why not instead of doing that, make the thing cheaper, like make it $150, make it but like the whole idea is like, oh, I'm gonna send you a T-shirt, so then he would have made it $250 because I want to offset the price of the T-shirt that I'm gonna give you for free. So you get this fake fucking stem player, which only works for one of my albums, because who knows what he wants to do? Maybe he gets an awesome like streaming deal with Tidal or fucking Spotify, and he doesn't want to do this anymore. Then you have a fucking stem player that's $200, only plays one album. Like, it's fucking like crazy. Like, what? Oh, I have an iPod. What does it play? 8 songs.
I wonder
from 2022, like an average album from a eccentric, borderline or bipolar black man that like is very conservative.
Can you imagine what like Jay-Z and Snoop and like all these really heavy-hitting businessmen who have been very successful thought about Kanye's this whole STEM thing, like this whole like it must be like being very successful and watching one of your friends try a pyramid scheme. Like, I bought this case of grape soda, energy drinks full of collagen.
2% of the people on Spotify make over $1,000 per year. So just imagine how many people make 10,000 or 100,000 or 500,000. So the people that Spotify, like Willie Nelson or whoever the fuck, like left Spotify because of Joe Rogan.
Neil Young,
they didn't make any money off Spotify. So like they did, like them leaving didn't matter. But no one like Taylor Swift didn't leave. She makes a ton of money. Like, that's the difference. So yeah, like Jay-Z and all those people, like, it's a nice idea, but it's also kind of like why they don't have to do that, because they make most of their money anyway, not on streaming. It's like it's just like a little extra money, but like they make their money from the audience getting exposure to the song to get them enticed to buy that ticket at that show. One show, Jay-Z makes $500,000 or more, right? That's where the money is. The touring. Yeah, but yeah, you know, like yeah, all right, yeah, I'm gonna be at like Staples Center, like
H to the Izzo.
What is he talking? What is he like? It's like, obviously, it's just an interesting laugh.
Oh.
Eddie Murphy. All these interesting laughs, man. I don't know. Alex Jones is going to be on CNN. They're going to do a documentary about Alex Jones, which I think is hilarious, because it's like, for a sense of like journalistic integrity and being in the leftist media or more like liberal, they can't hire Alex Jones which would make them a ton of money. I think they should, because when this documentary about Alex Jones shows up on CNN, it's going to be the most successful thing in terms of ratings they've had since, like, I don't know, like Russiagate, or like making fun of Pizzagate, or Epstein, or anything related to Trump at all. That's it's just like a proxy. It's like, oh well, you know who'd be great on CNN as like a person to have a show? Trump. It's like let's do a show about Trump, and then let's air it on CNN as like a one-time thing. Like that, just hire him. Like, I wish that Trump was back on TV and not doing anything in politics. I would watch his shit. If he had a podcast, I'd listen to that every fucking day. You want to know why? I'll tell you why. Because he's so smart that he knows that he can't talk all the time and talk about whatever he wants. Because he knows that, like, he's been a president. He has to tone it down slightly. It wouldn't be more. It would be more off the cuff, but he'd be more reserved. You want to know why? Because he'd have interviewees on. And he would actually stop talking as a narcissist and listen to what other people have to say and allow them to finish their sentences without interjecting. Yeah. He would have to do that. Otherwise, he'd come across in a way that he wouldn't want to be portrayed. So you'd see a new Trump in a way that gets to be more loose, says more shit he never, like, oh, why didn't they release the report about the aliens? Let me tell you why. And then he tells everyone about Roswell, what really happened. And then he lets like some like twink, like TikTok star talk for like 20 minutes straight and doesn't say a fucking word. That type of restraint is power. And that's going to show people, Jesus, we let Biden become president. We had this guy. He stopped talking to he let Timothy Chalamet talk about Dune 4 for 40 minutes straight. Didn't say a fucking thing. No commercial breaks.
Tune the fuck out.
Man, Alex Jones. You know what Alex Jones said about the fucking Russian thing? He said that like that was gonna. He said, "There's gonna be a war. There's gonna be a war in February." I've talked to high level reptilians. They've talked to me. And they said there's gonna be a war in February. He said this in like October of last year. I swear to God, the dude is all. He's like, I saw like Satanist fucking dog. Like they tell their daughter to go fuck a dog, and I watched. I was like, oh my God, this is awful, but like interesting too. It's like, yeah, it's like one of those Tijuana like fuck a horse shows. It's like Bohemian Grove. It was like. It was okay Alex Jones impression in the beginning, and then I completely let it off the rail because I've been drinking. So it's like it was decent in the beginning, and then it was like
but it was like a bulldog with rabies a little bit.
Yeah, it was bad. I guess all these guys like Joe Rogan, Alex Jones, the Russian guy that I think is like autistic. So the Russian guy that has the podcast, what's his name? Lex Friedman. So what? Why? It's the guy is just
massive delays.
Oh man, the podcast. They're all in Austin. They live on the same street by Rogan. It's so sycophantic. Like, we're all living next together. We'll just jack each other off for our wives leave us. It'll be great. We'll have a big tent in the backyard. It'll be fine. We'll wear blindfold. It'll be for great. A lot of lube, like Jergens. We'll sponsor by Jergens. We'll just jack each other off. It'll be great. Like lubricant, very good. Moisturize. Yeah, I don't know, man. But man, I tell you what, that dog just blew my socks off today. I mean, that dog. He's gonna need to walk in the morning. He's gonna have to do something in the afternoon, and then in the evening something. And he's like. He's a mouthful. Queen Elizabeth has tested positive for COVID with mild symptoms. She's expected to continue light duties at Windsor over the week. Queening duty. Well, what do you? Yes, she's back to queening.
She's on light duty
to waving in her car as she goes in and out with her Range Rover from running errands at Harrods. Like what? She doesn't do shit. There's absolutely nothing. Prince Harry's done more for the English family than she's done her entire career. I mean, Princess Diana's done more for the English family. at least in terms of like book sales. I mean, if there was like a testament, like the Royals, an official biography, that didn't sell as much as like the Royals, how they wanted to kill their own daughter, Princess Diana. Like it's just like that sold.
Can you imagine?
My
like,
mom's all
how
about
excited.
that. My mom was like a Princess Diana in a mini version. Like she was ostracized from her family, a bunch of boys. She like a good like an aristocratic family, and she was like a lone wolf, and she felt she alienated herself from them for some particular reason. I'm not going to get into it, but when Princess Diana died, my mom was crying in the kitchen, and I was thinking, and now I think about like, well, this is a woman that like is very protected and dated like Saudi guys or whatever, and like just enjoyed like the jet set lifestyle and being kind of this like what Angelina Jolie essentially is today, and just doing whatever the fuck she wants. And I guess my mom in some way was like that, borderline. I really think my mom was borderline. I don't know if that has anything to do with Princess Diana. I don't know her personality. She seems far more reserved. I think it's kind of cool, like Michael Jackson met Princess Diana, and he said like, she asked what his sound list is. Like, well, I'm not going to do Dirty Diana. They told me not to do that. She's like, oh no, please do that. It's my favorite song. Like it's like she's there because I guess the royals would see. Oh my god,
she was a sweetheart. Well, it resonated with your mom. You do have a lot of like royal looks to you now that you mention it. Just
I look like Prince William when he had hair. That's what people said at my mom's funeral. But I don't know. Or my mom's memorial service. The memorial service is very God, it's so fucking my mom might have BPD, but for certain her eighth sibling, the youngest, who was ignored by everyone, Eileen, definitely was BPD. Mm-hmm. So you're not supposed to open up, I guess, the casket in a Catholic church or something. There's some rule, whatever. And so my mom's dead in the casket. Hopefully she's dead in the casket. I wouldn't want her to be alive.
Clawing her way.
And she like wants to open it. I swear to God, just to scar me and my brother. Ooh. I swear to God, because she's disgusting. She's a psychopath. She's never had a job and doesn't have to. But like, it's like still. Gross. Like it doesn't have a man. She's bad. Imagine to be a BPD art hoe from a family of really good looking people, and like you're so crazy no one wants to fuck you. Like that's crazy. That's super crazy.
That is crazy. She sounds like insidious.
I remember once I went up to her room when I was like 12, and she just had like thousands of dollars and $100 bills just laying out on like a random desk, and I just like grabbed a bunch of it, like thank you, and left. She probably didn't give a shit. I was like, it's all the family's money, whatever, it's fine. I didn't have any idea of like boundaries then. I was just like, this is mine. I used to hide $100 bills and books and then keep them in my room, and then my brother would find them and take the money. And he's like, I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, you're not using it. I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? I have to use it? Like when? And like within 5 days? What's the timeline to use it? Like I would hide hundreds of dollars of my money that I got somehow. I don't know. Like
that's so funny. I used to hide things maybe of less value, but like throughout, I wonder if that's a part of having something.
I would lose things all the time. I swear to God, there's like little minions or little devils trying to fuck with me. Like Berabashka. Is it Berabashka? Is the Russian? Now that we're talking about Russia today, Berabashka is the Babushka is the Babushka is the grandmother. Babush is the grandfather, and then Berabashka is this little creepy trickster guy who like steals your socks, and like you try to find your like keys. That's what he does. So I think there's a Berabashka. I should have
named the dog that. Berabashka.
No. But yeah. So let's see. Where are we on time? Let me check this out. I feel like we've been talking. Been an hour. We'll start to wrap this up. So Ukraine's not part of NATO. No one wants them to be. That's very creepy. I think it's interesting. I think it's creepy that George Soros is very pro-Ukraine right now, which is really creepy. I think it's interesting that Putin has made all these like Crimea moves and stuff as NATO seems to be approaching Ukraine, which means that NATO would have control over oil and gas subsidies through Russia vis-a-vis Ukraine, which would give them enormous leverage going into the European Union in terms of oil and gas supplies. Because the only leverage that's differential that separates Putin from having total dominance is Ukraine. So if you're a petrostate and your economy in terms of dollars is only worth that of Belgium, you're like basically a petrostate. Cost of living obviously is different there. But like if you're threatened at all by a former territory that was yours, that gave you even more power at the height of your country's history, arguably speaking, at least for the reign of the USSR, before the Bolshevik Revolution, the fall of the czars and everything. I would imagine what he's doing isn't necessarily like wrong. Like it's rational. He's not crazy. Like it makes sense. He feels threatened, and he's right. He should feel threatened.
Yeah.
Like he's not
At least
crazy.
He's not delusional.
He's not delusional. He's making like the right choice. And here's what I think from the Zelensky standpoint, from the United Nations standpoint, from the people advising Ukrainians people other than Zelensky himself, I think there will be a point in time where the reality is that Ukrainians troops, the United Nations supplementation of those, like Stinger missile, surface-to-air ballistics, will not be enough. And all it will do is serve to destroy what is, the city's capital and for no reason. Yeah. They cannot stop Russia from going in. So Russia's going to get whatever they want. What I think will happen is... here's the problem. Here's the creepy thing. Zelensky, can he be bought? He used to be an actor. Right. Would he become a pro-Russian acolyte for a certain price and change things up? Like because there's no way that Putin would not want a regime change under any peace treaty. He would want Zelensky removed. He would want, at least temporarily, recognition of the Donbass region being Russian owned. And then 5 years later he comes in and takes over? I don't think he does that. I don't think he's going to wait. This is going to be a long drawn out campaign in Ukraine now. Your wars don't necessarily end in 5 days. Nothing's Beirut. So it's this could go into 2023, 2024. It's very possible. What I suspect will happen is this will be a slow burn. Zelensky will eventually die somehow, and then Putin will put his people in. Right now, there's all this huff about it. The sanctions are a bit ridiculous. I think they could be worse. I think it was interesting that they didn't initially sanction Putin directly, but again, his assets are all hidden and you don't really know where his money is it's through some shell corporation in Greece for all we know. Who knows? It could be he'd have interest in the United States through some fake person for all who knows. But I just don't see the coverage. It's going to be such a slow burn where the deaths are low and it's not like tanks and missiles and airstrikes. Like Iraq was the war was supplemented through the media by the U.S. military to let people know, look what we're doing. We're fighting for 9/11, right? All the while ignoring Saudi Arabia and what they had to do with 9/11. So there's not going to be none of that. Everything we've seen clips that the press has used from stuff that's not even related to what's happening, like old clips, just because they don't have enough good stuff, right? They don't have enough the good war. But it's a slow burn and it's going to get boring. And then you're going to find out something where someone's going to leak something about Zelensky and his relationship to the previous guy. There's some guy that Zelensky was backed by, his old news station that was corrupt and a billionaire. Something's going to come up about that. and then all of a sudden 2 weeks later, you're gonna find out Zelensky like committed suicide, and really he didn't. Like that, it's gonna be something weird like that, and so I don't, and guess what? Putin, by keeping this long and drawn out, gas prices are going to stay high. Yeah. So like, there's really no reason for him to like, as long as the sanctions aren't crippling, and I don't think he gives a shit about what his people think of him. He's a fucking dictator. He doesn't give a shit. I think former world chess champion and world number one. Again, my from the serotonin syndrome, my memory is not where it should be. What is the Russian chess champion? Garry Kasparov. Yeah, I can't think of anyone's name. He's talked about how he thinks that this will be a slow burn, and that Russia will eventually get what it wants, whatever that is. But it will likely come in terms of some sort of like staged proxy government that's pro-Russian, and I think this could happen like over a course of a couple of years. So we'll see. But I think gas prices are in the foreseeable future will stay high, and Putin will eventually get what he wants, and not nothing more. And Soros being pro-Ukraine creeps the fuck out of me, because the United Nations, NATO, like wanting to control all of Europe, European Union, this whole like giant conglomeration of states and trade partners, and then like Putin's kind of like fucking that up. I think it's particularly interesting, but he's also invoking the whole Nazi. I've said it a million times. The fact he's invoking the Nazi thing, the fact he's calling the president and the cabinet of Ukraine drug addicts and like meth addicts like Hunter Biden is hilarious. And we'll see what happens.
So this is all just a big jab at the U.S.
I think that it is, and no one's talked about it. I think it's a complete jab, and no one's saying shit, because it's like too on the nose. It's like, how can you make fun of this guy for calling a Jew a Nazi, but you can do that with Trump? How can you make fun of this guy for calling the cabinet ministers drug addicts and meth heads when Hunter Biden was a meth head appointed to a Ukrainian oil company by his father through his ties in the Obama administration? What's defined corrupt?
Yeah.
Like, it's just a complete hypocrisy. So the only thing they can do is, Putin's an evil guy. Like, so is Trump helping Putin right now? Like, no. Who's helping? Who allowed Putin to do this? No one. We just didn't stop him. But who was president? Biden. So, it is what it is. Would Trump have done anything differently if Putin had the audacity to do this under Trump? What Trump should do is go into Mexico when he becomes president, or DeSantis, go into Mexico, take over the drug cartels closest to the border, go all the way down to the Culiacan territory, create a giant military base from Culiacan to the border as it exists today, basically a buffer where you just can't get drugs through, and then allow the Mexican people to kind of live below that, but basically make it all a U.S. territory, and then say fuck you to the cartels. That's what you should do. Annex it as part of the drug war and the fentanyl abuse and blah 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 blah. Mm-hmm. That's what it should be. That's what should happen. Yada yada yada, etc. and so forth. Okay, I am officially
ellipses
drunk and off. I am signing off. Deplorables with attitude. Stay fabulous. Love you all. Sarah, go get some fat snacks. I will see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.